welcome to this edition of Tips
with Joan and Priya.
Woohoo! And we are so excited today that we are honored to have someone with a really cool last name. And actually, you know what? I just realized, Priya, it's actually my cousin's last maiden name.
What?
I have a cousin with the same last name as our guest. So welcome to our show, Alan Frost. And his company is Flavanaturals. And I happen to have it in here right with me. Priya, this one's for you.
Yay, save it for me.
Nice girl in your red today. And the one that I already opened and started eating is for me because I like the Himalayan pink sea salt and almonds. So welcome to the show, Alan. Priya, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. So Alan Frost is the founder and CEO of Flavanaturals, a company that is changing the way people think about and consume chocolate. Alan combines more than 20 years of experience in the biotech industry with a commitment to healthy living and a love of chocolate. So welcome, Alan.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Joan. Awesome to be here.
And we're saying heck yes to chocolate today.
I love it. I love it.
And fantastic. I'm eating so that you can talk. I'll eat, you talk.
Sounds great.
So why don't you tell us about Flavanaturals?
So Flavanaturals is a brand of all-natural dark chocolate and cocoa powder that's delicious, but also super high in cocoa flavanol antioxidants, which are what's good for you in dark chocolate. So you can, so this is guilt-free chocolate. It's chocolate that's, you've probably heard that dark chocolate can be good for cognition, good for thinking, for focus. It could be good for cardio health, good for energy, and just great for a good 3 o'clock pick-me-up.
I love it. I love it. And it's really delicious. I gotta say that.
It's like,
it's good
dark
stuff.
Chocolate that's like creamy.
Unfortunately, I eat way too much of it myself.
Not unfortunately.
I wish I had more of it here.
Between me and my family, we eat into the profits a little too much, I should say.
Oh, I bet you do. I would totally be binging every day.
Multiple times a day.
What made you, how did you discover this, and like what made you choose to do this? Why did you go this path?
No, great question. So interestingly enough, I started out my career in pharmaceuticals, and I spent most of my career in biotech. The company I work for got purchased about 6 years ago, and it gave me a chance to kind of sit back and think about what was next in life. And I decided I wanted to do something more entrepreneurial, like you do.
Priya is a serial entrepreneur. I'm a oneer.
You're a oneer?
Well, she's still an entrepreneur, girl.
We're
I am now.
We're oneers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was looking at a bunch of different things, completely unrelated. And one day my wife came into the family room with the New York Times, threw it in my lap and said, "I told you we should eat more chocolate." And which was my response. And listen, I'm a pharma guy, so I'm this nerd thinking, let me see that article, ready to poke holes into it. And that particular article said chocolate improves memory. And you may have remembered it was in all the papers. It was on the news.
No, I didn't eat enough chocolate to remember it.
There, we'll correct that. So anyway, so I'm reading this article, and it was based on a study that was done at Columbia University, and it was published in this journal called Nature Neuroscience, which is one of the most well-respected medical journals out there. And what they showed in this particular study, was a group of 50 to 60-year-olds that had consumed this chocolatey beverage daily for 3 months. And at the end of that time frame, their speed to memory recall improved dramatically. How quickly, where are my keys? Where, what's that person's name? And it was real science, and it was pretty profound. So I started to do some research, and it turns out that there's a lot of great studies that were done with cocoa flavanols, which are the antioxidants in dark chocolate. And there are benefits to cognition. There are also benefits to cardio. There are benefits to metabolic health. It lowers blood sugar a little bit, lowers blood pressure, lowers LDL. There's all these, and everybody knows it enhances mood. So there's all these great things about these cocoa flavanols in dark chocolate. But the catch was, when you look at all these studies that have been done, they typically use between 500 milligrams and 1,000 milligrams of cocoa flavanols a day to get these benefits. But your average dark chocolate bar only has about 100 milligrams.
Oh.
So
have to eat
yeah.
5.
So so some of us, right, could probably eat 5 a day.
Yeah.
But not everybody.
That's even a lot for me.
So so at that point, kind of like, we started thinking, well, if we could develop a dark chocolate that has the flavanols that you need to achieve these health benefits, and that tastes great, and that's all natural, then we might have a business. And it really, it took a few years to pull together, but eventually we did, and we launched a little over 2 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
I had read something about the actual cacao beans. I buy them at my health food store and I put them in smoothies because I had read something about them being good for you. But this is taking it to a whole different level. Yeah,
they're so healthy. It's probably like I think it's the best kept secret in nutrition, to be honest with you. And that's our challenge as a business is, if I tell you, oh, this has 500 milligrams of cocoa flavanols or 5 times the flavanols of a typical dark chocolate bar, you probably look at me like, what's this guy talking about, right? So there's an educational element, and that's one of the bigger challenges. But the benefits are amazing, and all these benefits that I told you about, it's actually, the mechanism is very simple. What flavanols do, they increase the elasticity of your arteries and vessels. They increase circulation. So when you're eating dark chocolate and enough of it, it's improving your circulation, and in better circulation has all these other tremendous benefits.
Wow.
Okay, so I can eat chocolate and get healthier. I love it, Priya.
So
there you go.
I would love to know, what is the process for extracting the flavanols?
Right.
How are you getting all of that?
So that's a great question, because a lot of people think,
of course, the scientist in her. Yep.
How are you fortifying your chocolate with flavanols? Like, how do you do that? It's actually an all natural process. So the secret's kind of twofold. So the first step is, it's all about the bean. So cocoa beans can vary in their antioxidant level by 10-fold. It just depends on the farm. It's the soil, it's the climate, it's the farming techniques. So a lot of people think that it's all about the cacao level, right? Like, I'm eating a 90% cacao chocolate bar. This is super healthy for me.
I did think that, yes.
Right? Absolutely. And to some extent, that there's some truth to that. But actually, I could show you 2 90% bars, and one could have 5 to 10 times the cocoa flavanol levels of another bar. And that's where all the benefits are coming. And it's mostly because the bean you start with, right? Because if I start with a bean that's a 1,
Mm-hmm.
It could be 100% cacao, but it's always going to be a 1. If I start with a bean that's a 10 and it's 50% cacao, I still have 5 left over, right? So that's the first part. You got to start with the bean, and we source our beans from a handful of farms in Ecuador that have been cultivating this very high flavanol crop that tastes great. And then the second part is processing, because the way we typically process chocolate in this country tends to destroy the flavanols. So there's 2 things about that. There's chemicals. So a lot of chocolate is alkalized, which is a chemical process, and that destroys a lot of the flavanols. And the other thing is, very high levels of heat can destroy flavanols. So we roast at lower temperatures for a longer period of time, which still brings out the great flavor, but preserves the flavanol. So with those 2 pieces, combined, our chocolate and cocoa powder has 5 to 9 times the cocoa flavanol antioxidants of a typical dark chocolate bar.
That's
wow.
pretty cool.
So how did you choose the farm in Ecuador? Did you go down there? Did you fly down and check out a couple of farms?
Relationships with them?
Yeah. So it's wild. So we've got, as you can imagine, because we're a small company, we've got partners all through the supply chain, from the farmers to the manufacturing of the chocolate. then to the co-manufacturing and, you know, all the way through marketing, right? But we've got partners across the board. But yeah, so I did go out to see the farms in Ecuador, which was an absolutely amazing experience. Like great people, you know, doing great things, and it was really fabulous to be there and to meet the people that were involved.
Are you the only one that like buys from a certain farmer, or are there other people that would come, or did you like make a single relationship?
Yeah, no. So it's not just a single relationship. These are pretty big farms. So there are other people that are buying, but there's not a lot of other people doing what we're doing right now, which is kind of interesting. So I think you're going to see more and more of that as people become more aware of the benefits of flavanols. You know, one thing I was telling you earlier, it's one of the best kept secrets, but Harvard's actually doing a study right now with 20,000 people that are taking daily flavanols for 5 years. And they're looking at, which is incredible, right? And they're already 4 years into it. So as soon as that study comes out, I think, you know, there's going to be a lot of publicity around that. They're looking at, in addition to cognition, they're looking at cardiovascular and cardiovascular events. And they're actually predicting that they'll see probably about a 30% reduction in cardiovascular events, just because, again, the way flavanols work, they're just increasing the elasticity of your arteries and vessels. So think about it, you know, it's bringing down blood pressure a little bit, bringing up LDL, HDL, bringing down LDL, bringing down blood sugar. So all these, you know, everything in moderation. It's not a substitute for your blood pressure medication, but it's, and it's all natural and it tastes great. So
that's fantastic. I love it. So what do you do for your health other than eat your own chocolate source?
Yeah. So that's,
you know, you're eating all the profit.
If I can't exercise or I can't sleep, I'm just eating chocolate and cocoa powder. But, you know, I don't know. I'm pretty simple. Like for me, it comes down to 3 things: exercise, sleep, and nutrition. So, you know, I try to exercise, you know, every day. What are you guys doing for exercise in the current environment?
Oh, you're asking us?
Yeah. Am I allowed?
Yes.
So every Friday, Joel Madelon walks us through exercises.
Is that all you do, Priya?
No. I do yoga with Cassandra on YouTube. And I have a friend that has a company called Savage Fitness, and I follow her videos. And I have an elliptical, so I use that once in a while.
That's awesome.
To hang clothes?
Stop it! I don't do that.
That's awesome.
When we were in person in the studio, which is my kitchen, Joel would come and be in person with us because Joel and I made a commitment in December that I was going to run the marathon with him. So Joel is, will you marathoning me? And I do backward walking, forward walking, stairs in my building with my arms straight up. And then Joel would come and work out here with Priya and I during the show. So we transferred that to like 5 minutes online on Fridays. So
that's awesome. Joel's Joel's just fabulous. He's fantastic.
Awesome. Well, he does every morning at 8 a.m. since he turned 50. He does like that 10-minute, and my dad is on it every single day.
I love it.
It's so, and you can watch it anytime, but Priya used to be a power lifter. She's pretty.
That was when I was like 17, 18, 19. I used to lift.
Wow.
But I did do a couple marathons. I did the half twice, the ING in Miami. I've done the Spartan race. I've done a bunch of 5Ks. So I'm no stranger to marathons.
That is very cool.
Yes, I wish you were around back then because I used to use goo. You know.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Well, and you know what? And you probably heard like a lot of powerlifters are, you know, some people take nitric oxide supplements.
Yeah. And
so the interesting thing about dark chocolate and flavanols is that's how they work. They're natural nitric oxide boosters.
Oh.
And that increase in nitric oxide is what improves circulation.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing with Joel is walking backwards is I mean, you feel like it's nothing until you start doing it. You're like, wow, all you're doing is walking. But the fact that you're walking backwards, you're using completely different muscles. I feel like my brain is working in a different way when I do it. And he made me do it once on a treadmill. And I was like, literally, my brain couldn't comprehend that I was going backwards on a treadmill that was moving me forward. And you have to hold on for a while because you're not quite sure what's happening until you're gonna let that go. I mean, I feel like this is what's happening in the world. Like, we're letting go what we thought we knew and understood so that we can learn something else. And this, you know, it feels like, I mean, that's for me today, this is part of this. Like, I was learning the fact that I can actually eat chocolate every single day now and be healthier.
Oh,
gotta love that.
Yeah. And if you don't, you know, some people don't want the sugar every day. I have no problem with it, but some people don't want the cocoa powder is actually unsweetened, and it's very, very easy to and we also have them in these cool canisters.
Oh,
with the scoop, which is great. So
love it.
I have a scoop every morning because the benefits of flavanols build actually when you have them every day. So I have every morning I put a scoop of cocoa powder in my Greek yogurt, a little maple syrup, some blueberries, and a little granola, and it's fantastic.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Now.
I've got my kids on it too.
Cocoa or cacao?
So actually, you can use them, people use them interchangeably. It's funny. So it's used. They're really used interchangeably. Sometimes people refer to cocoa as like maybe more of they think of hot chocolate.
Right.
But the reality is, like, especially in the industry, people really use them interchangeably.
Okay. What do you use?
Because, you know, people, when they talk about powder, they usually say cocoa powder. So I tend to use cocoa. When I'm talking about like the percentage in a chocolate bar, then I would use cacao.
Priya, what would you say?
Chocolate.
Give me some.
Chocolate was your weakness. Now it's your strength.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What kind of exercise do you do every day, Alan?
So I like to bike. You know, I used to go to the gym, but that's on hold right now.
I know.
So we're doing different things. Walk the dog, and one thing I did, like right as the quarantine was starting. I don't know. Have you guys ever seen those erg machines in the gym? They're rowing machines.
Yes, I love those. I love those.
They're fantastic. They're crazy workouts. So I actually got one just as the quarantine was starting. So which is great to do at home. And it's a crazy cardio workout. You
have to send us a picture of you on that machine.
And you have to, on those machines, you have to really build up your stamina.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, I think the rest of my family, has been ready to call an ambulance a few times after I get off of it,
I love it. No, this is awesome. You know what? You got to say heck yes to chocolate.
Heck yes to chocolate.
Heck yes to chocolate.
It's amazing that it tastes good too. And it's not like, I used to go for the milk chocolate because it was creamier, but then I started to really like the dark chocolate. And now I really feel like I get it. I understand it now. So I'm going to, from now on, be getting this one, and then I'm going to check the labels if anybody gives me another one.
Oh my God, I want some too.
We're gonna send you
some.
We'll send you one of the combo packs that's got all the flavors in it.
Ooh, and the cacao powder or cocoa powder.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
So the powder, I had mentioned this in a previous Follow Me Friday, I think, that I mixed it with a French pastry for my kids. It's a really simple recipe you do on the stove, and you put like baking powder and stuff in it. Anyway, but it was perfect, and the kids loved it. But I had one packet, and since then I've been substituting it with like chocolate powder, you know what I mean?
Like hot chocolate mix?
Hot chocolate powder.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It does not.
We're gonna connect. We're gonna hook you up with plenty of cocoa powder.
And I'll tag you guys.
Good stuff.
I'll post it and I'll tag you.
Good stuff.
love it. Aw, thank you so much, Alan, for joining us today, all the way from Marblehead, Massachusetts.
Yeah, well,
I love
thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Yes.
And you guys are a lot of fun. And
a special
always learn something when I watch the show, too.
Oh, good. And we do, too. And a special thank you to Joel, because he made the introduction. He adores you. Adores you.
Love Joel.
And we love to support businesses that are sustainable and that are doing good things too. So thank you.
Thank
you.
And
hopefully we'll get to see you in person soon.
Yes.
That'd be great.
That would be really cool. Priya, I'll save this for you.
Don't eat it.
I have been saving it for you. Okay, but I may not.
Thank you.
I can't control myself. I may not. All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye,
Alan.
guys.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.